good afternoon or good evening when this video reaches you from Yami B TV. Hopefully I can come up with some comedy gold very shortly with you know who. Right now, scorching outside. I was going to leave these videos until tomorrow, but I have to report on this case as it's a case that we've reported on Yami B TV before, and it does involve one of my old mates from way back in the day. So we talk Danny Kelly, the man who was convicted of being the shooter of Paul Allen, another man that I met along the way who's sadly now paralysed, right? Paul Allen, you remember, was a co-defendant to Lee Murray on one of the biggest robberies that took place in England, the £53 million depot heist, right? So they're reporting on social media, because Danny Kelly got 36 years for this case. He had two co-defendants, two brothers, and I think they've all fallen out. I'm not too sure. But Danny Kelly got 36 years, but he had it, which is a long sentence for a man who hasn't committed murder, but he did have some antique theft and robbery charges in other countries as well. I'm hearing he's still got to face more in Japan, so he's not really a happy man, Danny Kelly, right? So first place that he goes to, because it was only recent he got sentenced, is HMP Category A, Franklin, where it's reported, like I said, that he's had his throat cut in some way or another, right? Now, a lot of speculation going on, a hit, a botched hit, and whatnot. Look, I'm hearing, again, not facts, the weapon used is a homemade tool with razors that they've come behind him to try and cut his throat, right? Now, with these instruments, because if I'm suggesting that Danny, there wasn't no altercation with this geezer, it could be even mental health, who knows, right? But I doubt it. So there's been no fight or build up to anything, right? He hasn't gone with a shank metal thing as in to stab him and all that. He's come from behind to cut Danny Kelly's throat. So there's only a couple of things that could have happened here. When he's gone like that to cut his throat, the tool's broke and it's not a really good homemade one. The other thing is that sometimes you get comedian hitmen, like I was a little bit, right, who go in half-hearted to do the job. We're not conclusively saying this is a hit. It could have been some mix-up on the landing, like I said to you. But they do report in this article that, well, it's funny how Danny Kelly can't really have a row and all that, so now he ain't got the gun and he's a bad man on the streets with a weapon. No, Danny Kelly can have a row with his hands, and there's factual evidence to go with this. And I used to play fight with these guys way back in the day, right? Especially Danny Kelly and Conan, yeah? I met Fabian as well way back. Fabian was a good geezer. All part of the growing up team with Lee Murray and all that. I met Mark Epstein, I think, once or something. That's how I got to know Conan. But no, Danny Kelly can use his hands. The only thing that I can think of this, and this again isn't fact, you know, I'm just going from what I've heard briefly and what they're suggesting, is that Danny Kelly must have disarmed him. He must have crept up. You know, sometimes you get any old hitman in prison where you can just pay quickly to go and do the job. And if you're not fully into it and you're not really skilled at it, and even if you are skilled, sometimes things can go wrong with these homemade weapons, mate. But my bit is, this is what I believe, right, is that Danny Kelly, when he's gone like that, has disarmed him. Danny Kelly obviously wasn't prepared for this, and I like I said before, I don't believe there was an altercation between these two guys, but at the end of the day, we're not there to see it. So I don't know whether some of you have heard this, but you know, it's a kind of like a few of them when I was younger, but I'm just glad he's come out of that one okay. But the speculation that it might be a hit from the out or it could be a hit from bloody everywhere. But I'll be honest on this occasion, I do stick my neck on the line, and I believe it's a hit, whether it's from inside, or whether it's from outside, or wherever. But this has all the hallmarks of being somebody being paid. It could be for some prison stuff and all that. Danny Kelly, when I was with him when he was a kid, he used to have little spats on the landings with people, and not a man who really backs down. Danny Kelly, not really scared of anyone. But none of this, apart from he definitely nearly had his throat cut severely, is facts, all right? So I'm going to come up here in a minute and do this comedy gold for you.